All right, here we go. Thank you all for joining me this fine evening. We'll get right into it here. I'll probably have a guest, maybe two, on in a little while. So I'm going to start from the very top, though, because there's a lot that we're going to go over here tonight. I'll try to do it in as timely of a fashion as I possibly can. But there's quite a bit, and most of my day has been spent just kind of going down this rabbit hole once again in regards to Senpai. So for those of you that don't know, I'll give kind of a brief summary on who is Senpai. So she is a person in the Smash community. I know that a couple years back when all these different allegations were coming out against people, Nairo, Zero, Senpai was also another one. She is lesser known than both of them, I would say, in the Smash community. She is apparently from the Virginia Smash scene. And what came out against her was accusations of, misconduct. And again, before you proceed forward with anything, I should say, uh, all of these are just accusations. Nothing has been proven unequivocally to be 100% true. So we'll just be kind of a opining on stuff, really, and just going over what's been made publicly available. And like I said, a lot of it will be opinion. A lot of it will be, like I said, you'll probably hear me say it over and over and over again. These are just accusations. None of this has been proven to be fact. It's just there's a lot of he said, she said. But there are some people that did provide. There are some instances where receipts are provided. Now, how you interpret those is how you interpret them. But this is just, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot here. And like I said, this didn't get nearly as much attention as the other stuff. And maybe that could be due to the fact that, it's a girl who was accused. It could be also because she's lesser known than somebody like Zero or a Nairo. So that also probably factored into this. But she made another response recently, and it went pretty much under the radar. Now, when she made a response last year, people saw that. It was basically when she put out that letter, or her attorney put out that kind of blanket kind of cease and desist on the internet that nobody really took seriously, because you can't really silence people from talking about it. But it was very odd. It was very odd, and that was the first time she responded. But apparently she responded last month, and it just kind of flew completely under the radar. I hadn't seen anybody else really cover it, and I got to thank the franchise, because the franchise is the one that brought it to my attention. So shout out to him. Goes up the franchise. But we're gonna go over it here. So this is where it all kind of started, right? It was this twitlonger from Puppy, who's also a Smash player on the Virginia scene, where he basically came out with his story. This was on July 1st of 2020, and it says, "My experience with Senpai. Throughout the entire summer of 2016, I had a S relationship with Senpai, Cinnamon, as she was known as during that time. She was 24, and I was only 14 during my experiences. I was manipulated, used, and sexualized. My entire life, I loved competing in Smash, and when I was 14, that was pretty much all I did. I could only travel to the big tournaments, Xanadu, the Cave, Fantastic Smash during the summer, since they were on the weekdays, and I had school. Since I was 14 and couldn't drive or anything, I would end up carpooling up to these tournaments. My friends and I would do it on a weekly basis and would travel up to the further away weeklies on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, Xanadu, I believe, is the weeklies that they would go to close to their area. So Xanadu, I believe, they run monthlies and weeklies, or something like that. If I'm, and anybody from that community, I'm sure will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they run weeklies and monthlies in the Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. area. I believe they have locations. So I don't know if they were going specifically to just the ones in their state, or just kind of all around to all the different ones. But it wouldn't. I would assume it wouldn't be too much of a drive to get to any of those. I mean, Virginia, Washington, D.C., all that. That's all within a couple hours of each other. So it usually doesn't take too long to drive around those areas. So But I'll continue on. So it says here, let me see. For the weeklies on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Cinnamon and I were really good friends with each other at the time. From traveling to locals together so much, we ended up liking each other a lot. Sometime before the summer of 2016, Cinnamon initiated those kind of conversations on Snapchat with me, and I would respond, but I never truly knew if anything would come of it. Cinnamon and I would DM on Facebook and Snapchat. Her accounts on both are deleted currently and have been for a while. And that, at least as far as Facebook is concerned, that is true because she does not have a Facebook account that I could find. So that is true. Let me see. On a daily basis, the first sexual thing that happened between the two of us happened one night after we got back from one of the tournaments we traveled up to. After the tournament, we went to the place we were staying at. Once we got there, everyone started playing Smash and then Mario Party after. People started drinking once we got back, which happened regularly once we would reach wherever we would be staying at for the night. But I would never drink myself. Now, obviously, this is not something that a 14-year-old kid should have been around, right? Something crazy ended up happening in the game we were playing. And since I was a hyper kid, I ran to the hallway towards the bathroom away from the main room we were all playing in, like a joke pop-off. Cinnamon, who was pretty drunk at the time, then ran after me and tackled me to the ground and started to make out with me while laying on top of me. The incident probably happened for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then after we just went back and kept playing. I was pretty much just in shock the entire time it was happening. I wasn't really opposed to it, though, since I was 14 at the time, and I liked her a lot. We spent basically every week together during the summer, so that on top of the sexual things we could do, made me start to develop pretty strong feelings towards her. That was one of the many times I had a sexual experience with her, but I'm not going to go into details about every single time, since some of them are a blur in my mind, and I only remember probably 3 or 4 times vividly. We would usually sleep together most nights after the first incident happened, and we would kiss a lot and cuddle during those nights. Our sexual relationship escalated as far as oral sex, but never as far as sexual intercourse. So obviously when he means they slept together, he means they just slept in the same bed, but apparently that was it. Not, as far as it got was just the oral, right? So our pseudo relationship lasted pretty much the entire summer, and she played with my head so often during that time that it still really fucks with me to this day. I truly believe most of my mental issues stem from that summer and how she treated me. She would tell me things like, "We can get together when you are 18. She would make me periodically delete our Facebook messages and would constantly remind me that I couldn't tell anyone, even though that was obvious to me. She would constantly gaslight me and make me question myself all the time while I was only 14, trying to find myself as a person. Not being able to tell anyone about my experiences ate away at me constantly. Having to see her after this period hurt me a lot, and would constantly distract me at tournaments. I would have to play her in doubles tournaments on a weekly basis pretty much, and she would be teaming with her boyfriend during those times. That would especially hurt me. I was super bitter about the whole thing and would BM every set in doubles I played versus them. You can still find YouTube sets of me doing this in old Smash 4 weeklies. I never knew how to process these emotions at the time. I honestly still struggle to try and understand them to this day. I could write for hours about my countless experiences during the summer, but that would make this insanely long. My reason for writing this is so I can hopefully be at peace with my experiences finally. So I'm tired of having to be silent for years and years now. I'm tired of hurting over it. I'm not looking for revenge or anything like that. I would have been back. It would have been back then when I was petty and immature. I'm writing this in hopes to simply just be at peace with myself and move on from this period of my life. I've been depressed for so long, and a major part of that is due to that summer. I'm tired of hurting over this and being afraid to speak out. I've lost many hours of sleep over the situation, writing this, and the thought of releasing this. If you've made it this far, thank you for reading. So that was what kind of initially kicked everything off, right? With Puppy. What's up, Sakura Katana? So that's what initially kicked everything off. And then, articles were written. And then what happened after this was that Senpai just kind of went silent, right? And again, that's not to say that, because I think what's interesting when there's these kind of allegations, if somebody goes silent, people immediately assume that their silence is some kind of acknowledgement that this might be true, and that's not the case, because we saw with cases like Andy Signor and Pro Jared, I think, are the best examples of they didn't immediately respond until sometime after. In Pro Jared's case, I think it was something like 7 or 9 months or something until Pro Jared responded to everything and cleared up everything, because he was seeking legal counsel. And same thing with Andy Signor. Andy Signor, I believe, actually had a gag order where he couldn't speak on the matter until like 2 years after everything happened, and by then the damage had already been done. But he was also not able to speak on the matter because he was handling things behind the scenes legally. So she went silent on her social media. She has a Twitch, a YouTube. She has apparently she did not have a Facebook, but she had a Twitter account, has an Instagram account. Went silent on all those. Didn't say anything publicly in response to this until nearly a year later. And we'll go over that now. We'll go over her response, and it was because she apparently was seeking legal counsel, which would be the smart thing to do in these instances, because these are serious allegations. So here is her. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. I believe this is it. Yeah, I believe this is it right here. So this was her response on May 1st of 2021. Okay. She responded to this then. So let me see. Actually, before I go over this, I wanted to actually hold on. Before we even go over this, there's something else I want to show you, because the boyfriend that she had at the time, or I should say, she was apparently married, or I say apparently because supposedly she is now divorced from her husband, who was a guy in the Smash community that goes by the name of Wadi, who is also who is a pro player from Virginia, who had gotten married with her, and apparently he is no longer, allegedly. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is true. Allegedly, they are divorced now. He had made a statement after she did, apparently not after she did, but after on the same day that Puppy had made a tweet longer. Wadi also apparently made a tweet longer where he said, "My situation." Now, mind you, I believe he was still married to Senpai at the time that he made this tweet longer response, which I found to be interesting, the wording of it, right? Now this is from Senpai's husband, Wadi. He said, "My situation. I just want to clear the air surrounding my situation with Tyler Squirk." This is a completely different situation, by the way. We were very, very close at one point, to the point at one point to where he started developing feelings for me, and I rejected because he was too young. We stopped being friends for a little bit when me and Senpai got together, but after a while, things went back to normal. That's all my situation was. So I guess there was people. That has nothing to do with this. That's a completely different situation. But this is what's interesting, right? He goes, as for Senpai and Puppy, I'm honestly shocked. I don't know how to respond about it. I had no idea that this even happened, and I'm really sorry for him. I don't know anything about the situation, so leave me out of it, please. So I thought that was an interesting response, considering he was, this, and a serious allegation came out against his wife. So I just thought, the wording here, I had no idea this even happened, and I'm really sorry for him. But then just as kind of like, he's shocked, but he doesn't know how to respond to the situation, just wants to be left out of it. So I feel like, I don't know. This is a weird way, because I would think like this is somebody accusing your wife, dude. And your response is essentially just, "I'm sorry for that other guy. I don't know anything about this. I want to be left out of it." I would think, and I'm not saying that there has to be this fierce defense for his wife if he honestly doesn't know, but it's just a very strange response. I just thought it would have, maybe it should have been more along the lines of, hey, look, I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it. But it's just worded very interesting. It makes me feel like maybe there's something that he was told or knows about the situation more intimately than is being led on here. And I don't think he spoke any more on the situation after this. And what's interesting is if you go to his Twitter, at least around that time, right? Or you go to her Twitter, she used to really interact with her husband a lot. This was before the allegations came out. This was her responding to her husband, right? To Wadi. This is Senpai responding to him. There's a lot of this where she would engage with him very actively on Twitter, and I'm sure on her other, probably on Instagram, it was the same thing. But what's interesting is after this date, at least that not that I could find, after June 29th of 2020, and remember, the accusation against her was in July 1st of 2020, there is no longer any kind of interactions between her and her husband on social media after that. So, take that for what it is. I mean, but these are also the kind of interactions that they would have. Let me show you all this, because this is it was either her responding a lot, engaging him a lot on his Twitter. And again, this doesn't necessarily mean anything, but this is the kind of stuff, right? This was February of 2020, right? This is her tweeting about her husband. There are so few people in this world who you meet and instantly feel a connection with, who can imagine yourself knowing for as long as you both live, no matter what. Wadi Rob will always be a part of my heart, and I'll be grateful for you forever. Happy birthday, my love. Seeing a lot of nice little pictures, lovey-dovey stuff. What I mean, stuff of them together. But then after, and like I said, the last interaction that I found, and again, maybe there's another one, but the furthest one that I found was June 29th, 2020. And then there's no more interactions between them. And there's been word that after these allegations surfaced, they either separated or divorced not long after. Again, I don't know if the divorce is legit or if there's just been a separation, but there's been no kind of social media interaction. Now, of course, I don't know. I can't say with any certainty if they are still together or not. I really don't know, but that's what's been rumored. There's a site that kind of posted that, and I'll show you all that. And again, I don't know if this is credible, but apparently this legit.ng site claims that her marital status is divorced and her ex is Wadi. And again, I don't know how credible this site is. If somebody made this stuff up, it kind of goes over the allegations, and then Wadi and Senpai's relationship. Cinnamon was formerly in a relationship with fellow gameplay guru Wadi. Wadi reportedly became Senpai's boyfriend before the said time of Dunson's alleged misconduct. The couple then got married in 2017. And then it says Wadi and Senpai's divorce. It is not clear whether the pair broke up, but rumors have it that they went their separate ways in response to the allegations against Cinnamon. Wadi said that he knew nothing about it and expressed concern for Puppy and what allegedly happened to him. So we saw that tweet response from him, and that's it. That's all he has said. Again, take that for what it is. I'm not saying that it's 100% confirmed or true or not, but it's very interesting that there has been no more interactions between them. And again, that doesn't necessarily prove anything, because as we know, when she finally did respond, and I'm going to bring that up right now, it was nearly a year later. And her response essentially was her saying that she had gotten legal counsel, right? Is when she finally responded. So maybe maybe it's possible they are still together and he's just staying quiet because she allegedly was handling stuff behind the scenes legally. But when she finally did respond, this was her response. Okay. She posted a screenshot of this right here of a statement. Okay. That says, I have never in my life, it says, I have never in my life, RAPED'd anyone, and I'm not a pedophile. And I've never forced another person to be in a sexual or romantic relationship with me in any way. I've never consented to or asked anyone to wait until I'm blackout drunk, vomiting, and unconscious to put their body parts anywhere inside of or on me in any way with any of the people that ever have throughout my life, including in 2016. So that was interesting, right? Because she's just kind of doing this whole, and I did a stream about this back when this came out, right? And I thought this was an interesting response because she just kind of is blanket denying stuff that she's not necessarily. I mean, I don't think anybody was accusing her of that, right? They were just, it was just an inappropriate relationship. But obviously a child at 14 can't. I mean, I guess you would consider it that in the statutory manner, it would be considered that because a 14-year-old kid can't consent. So, but it's interesting because she's trying, this is where you see her kind of almost immediately build, kind of creating this narrative of being the victim, right? Especially not with a nearly 40-year-old man who lures groups of young competitors in just to drug a woman with his alcohol, carry her away in front of them to sexually abuse her and then leave her alone in that condition to pass out around a group of men. I was an irresponsible, inappropriate, and immature 23-year-old in 2016. But through therapy, I can now decisively say that doesn't mean I deserved any of it. And, if what she is alleging here is true, right? Obviously, yeah, I think most people would agree. If any of what she's saying is true, of course, you wouldn't deserve any of that happening to you. So it says, my lawyer has advised me not to share details or names outside of the courtroom for legality purposes. All witnesses and evidence will remain private. I hope that any young woman or person reading this will reconsider living recklessly and drowning their trauma in alcoholism or addiction, not just within the Smash scene and the wider fighting game community, but everywhere. Preventing others from experiencing any of what I have is all that matters anymore. I realize there's people out there like me who have been as abused as children and young adults who are living with events that have caused them to develop mental disorders such as, offing themselves, ideation. Don't give up. Don't try to mask your trauma with alcohol or drugs either. You'll wind up in dangerous situations. No one will protect you and bad things will happen to you. Go to psychologytoday.com and search for a therapist who takes your insurance. If you don't have any and can't afford it, go to healthcare.gov and apply for free Medicaid insurance, and then go then for the good of yourself and everyone around you, get therapy. Life isn't easy for anyone. I'm going to continue my own therapy and I'm going to continue living because I am alive. Stop telling me to, basically off herself. I finally decided not to because I'm going to try to help people like me. So it's interesting here because she doesn't directly address the allegation. She just kind of blanket denies her doing anything of any kind with anybody, but claims that something happened to her and seemingly is trying to say that, it was her own alcohol abuse that might, that basically got her into this situation. So it just, let's go over here though. This was the, apparently from her attorneys, and this is a legit law firm. Is if this is whether or not this is a legit document, I'll take it in good faith that it is. But it says, to whom it may concern, please be advised that our firm has been retained by Mrs. Cinnamon Dunson. Ms. Dunson is also known in the game community as Senpai. Our firm was retained because Ms. Dunson observed a series of unwarranted and defamatory attacks against her character and reputation made by various commentators online. So apparently it's people online's fault, right? Comments posted online that attack her moral character and accuse her of illicit criminal behavior are hurtful, baseless, and defamatory. These reprehensible accusations have damaged her reputation and adversely affected her life. These comments must cease and desist immediately. So basically, this is a blanket kind of cease and desist on the internet, and and anybody making videos about it, which of course that's not going to work. I don't. It's just weird. Please note that the law firm does not attempt to restrict legitimate free speech, and we believe the internet is an important medium for dissemination of accurate and truthful information and for fair comment on issues of interest. However, the defamatory comments unlawfully encroach upon our clients' rights. This letter puts all on notice that should there be further defamatory comments about Ms. Dunson, aka Senpai, we will have no choice but to recommend that our client pursue all legal causes of action, including the filing of a lawsuit to protect her interests. We will pursue both monetary damages and attorney's fees and costs incurred by our client as a result of the legal actions. It is our hope that the correspondence will elevate the need that this correspondence will alleviate the need for any such filing or legal action. Thank you for your attention. So, I mean, basically putting the internet on notice, but that's, again, this is not going to work. People are going to talk about this stuff. And honestly, from what I saw, at least, there was nobody saying, anybody that I saw covering this that was saying with any kind of 100% certainty or saying it as any kind of declarative statement that she did these things. It's all alleged. Hey, what's up, Aura?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, that it was all alleged. I mean, I don't think anybody that I saw that was, like I said, that was covering this was saying that it was 100% fact. This is all allegations. We're just trying to see, based on the information that's out there, what is, what could potentially, I mean, we could only just speculate on what the truth really is.
Based on the initial accusations that were made, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that's come out that, can kind of paint a clearer picture.
Yes.
There's a lot of dodging and shit. So, like, that's why it's interesting. That's why we're, like, covering this shit, like, going over it.
Yeah, but this is just a lot of what's interesting, right? So she put this cease and desist order out on the internet, but what I find interesting is that I don't think that she had a cease and desist sent to Puppy, right? Because you would think if there was a cease and desist that there wouldn't have been any, there would have been no further comment from him, but he commented recently too on this stuff. So let me go over this now. Let me bring up the next thing here, which I find to be interesting because this also, and we're going to go back to July 2020 now, because there were other people that commented, but this is something that went kind of under the radar. I had no clue that there was other people that had made their own twit longers regarding their experiences with her. So let me go back here real quick to show this. So we know about his, but check this out. Yeah, I think this is it. So this is a twit longer from another Smash player in Virginia called Glyph Money. And this came out the day after Puppy put his twit longer out. So this is my relationship with Senpai and what it means for us all going forward. This has been a very hard day for me. My relationship with Cinnamon, or Senpai, as she is known now, damaged my psyche to the point where even now it's a very painful memory to revisit. But it's important that my story be shared right now, and not because of me or her. I need to talk about this because this community needs a direction to take. And if you'll bear with me, I will explain how I feel we need to fix this mess after I lay out what happened to me. Senpai and I met early on in 2015. She was not coy about her sexual exploits. I distinctly remember her telling me a story of performing oral sex on two other members of the local SOVA scene. SOVA meaning South Virginia scene. One, Permalia, is currently banned for SA for SAing 2 people in our scene. I was one of them. And we'll be coming back to this point in the end. The other, Black Yoshi, she would go on to cheat on me with while I was on vacation. I only found out because a former ex of hers strong-armed her into coming clean. With the advantage of hindsight, I can't believe how naive I was in the entire ordeal. She was the one to approach me, as I was at the time the biggest name at the RVA local. Her attraction to high-level Smash players is well documented now, but at the time, I was oblivious to what was happening. I was not interested at first, but she was persistent and very aware of how to leverage her sexuality. The more we talked, the more I found we had in common. It would turn out that those amazing coincidences were not that, but rather designed by her to make me consider her. She told me that she had never felt this way before, that we were soulmates, and that she wanted a monogamous relationship. All bullshit, all manipulation designed to get me to drop my guard. But I didn't know that then. I was over the moon, a cute girl who played Smash and thought I was the shit, wanted to have sex. It felt like I was on top of the world. I've always struggled with self-image, and having a cute girl chase after me made me feel like maybe all the insecurity was wrong. And for a few weeks, things really were amazing. Then one night, I caught her on Smash Wi-Fi at 3 a.m. along with another player from my scene, Archie. I pressed her on the unusual timing, and she claimed that she had a nightmare and he was helping her calm down. I would later learn that she had been exchanging nudes on Snapchat during this time. Even without that information, I could feel something was off. She was distant in person and repeatedly made it clear that she belonged to no one. After about a week of me begging her to tell the truth, she admitted she was interested in pursuing him sexually and needed to be free to do what she wanted. She told me that she loved me far too much to break up with me, and that if I really wasn't okay with it, then I needed to be the one to end things. It's painfully obvious now what should have happened, but I loved this girl, and the way it felt to have her desire me. Looking back, it's painfully obvious that what I should have done. But I was an insecure, lonely nerd who was foolish enough to believe this girl when she said she loved me. If I wanted to keep my relationship alive, I felt I had no choice but to let her go. I only asked one thing of her: please don't go all the way. I could maybe try something more open, but I knew I couldn't stomach that. She messaged me the next day with a long apology, assuring me that it had been only for a second and she felt terrible about breaking my trust. Archie did not know that I knew and slept with her anyway. He had a girlfriend at the time, and to my knowledge, she never found out about his infidelity. He would later express remorse to me, saying that he had been cheated on in the past and knew how much that hurt, but I would never be able to be in the same room as him comfortably again. It should have ended there. I made the mistake of trying to forgive her. She would go on to cheat on me with Black Yoshi during a family vacation. Zappa, a coworker of hers at TGS, who would come in on early days, he was off to hide in. On early days, he was off to hide in the back of the store to surprise her, and likely more that I will never get the peace of mind to know about. All the while telling me how much I meant to her, how I had saved her, playing on my hero complex to keep me in her life. The worst was late into our relationship. I was feeling miserable in the relationship, and she wanted to have sex. I refused, and she became more and more persistent. Sex to her is control, it's power, and she can make you have if she can make you have sex with her, she could make you do more too. I did not want anything to do with it, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. Even when I relented, she pushed far beyond my comfort zone and refused to stop until she decided we were done. I hate how powerless I felt that night, because how do you tell someone the girl who's known for being desired in the scene sexually assaulted you? Eventually, even my dumbass could read the writing on the wall, and we broke up. She tried using sex to rope me back in and nearly succeeded a number of times.
This is some wild shit, dude.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, right. Yeah. Is that like there was many more layers to the story than people knew about.
I believe them too. I believe.
Oh, are you cutting out, Aura? Aura, can you hear me?
Yeah, I was like, I can believe it. That's all I said.
So, okay, so she even used Puppy to reach out to me when I had her blocked. I tried so hard to make things work, but our relationship was never even real to begin with. The girl I thought I knew was calculated to be exactly the kind of person she believed I would be interested in. enough so she could get sex onto the table and get me emotionally invested. The more I saw of her, the less I recognized her. I don't know if the girl I loved ever really existed. My self-worth never fully recovered from this. To this day, I can't fathom myself as someone a woman would find attractive. I know that's not a logical thing, but fuck, man, I really broke myself trying to make things work with her. I wanted so much for her to be the person I thought she was, both to make her happy and to not have to admit to myself how badly I'd been misled. I haven't shared this story just for the sake of punishing Cinnamon, but rather I want to use this platform to address a problem that's already happening in our scene. I mentioned earlier that I had been sexually assaulted by Permalia and that he is now banned. The reason he is banned is because of the SSB conduct panel's hard work and the altruism of anonymous smashers who fucking went out of their way to help me at one of the darkest times in my life. They helped get the facts, find help for me to cope, and punish the person who had hurt me, all while allowing me the dignity of remaining in the background. I get that for most of us, this is just a video game, but SA is not something you can just shrug off. I'm going to carry these scars with me for the rest of my life. Yesterday, Gimmer and VGBC announced that they would be disregarding the rule made by said panel regarding the ban of Captain Zack. They made it very clear in their post that while they appreciated the work they did, they sure as fuck didn't respect their decision. The Smash panel made it painfully clear that there is more information in play and that they could not share it without outing the victims. The shit burns me up because that could have been me. I have been that person who had the blessing of remaining hidden. And I can only imagine what a nightmare it would be to find out Permalia was returning to the competitive scene. Somewhere there's someone living that reality. VGBC doesn't care about the people in the scene. They care about the numbers and profit. That's why a loud enough group on Twitter is all it takes to sway their opinion and completely undermine the only group out there who actually gives a shit about the people this scene has hurt. And it sickens me to see them so far gone from the grassroots that it all came from. So I guess he's just, this has nothing to do with Senpai. This is a completely different situation, but I get what he's trying to say with what he's putting here, but I don't think we really need to read that much more regarding him. But this is another one, right? This is the other guy that apparently, had a situation with Senpai. So, so let's go over now to her most recent response. Or are you there? Or
yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, just make sure.
Yeah, I'm listening.
There was somebody else that also made a post back in 2020, July 2020, but we'll go back to that in just a moment because this was Senpai's tweet on the 11th of March. She posted the truth. Please read the entire post. Okay. So she posts this statement that I guess she made, and then she posts some screenshots. They're supposed to be evidence. So let's go over this here now real quick. So it says here, the nearly 40-year-old man I was referring to is a guy named, and then she names the person. We're not going to say his name, and I'll probably go later on in the stream and blur out the name. He made a post about me after Puppy did in order to cover up what he was doing in his house all those years ago. I'm not sure why Puppy did not name him or any of the other adults in, we'll just call him Zephyr. Zephyr's house with us, as he was where the group of us would stay out of region upstate tournaments. So keep this in mind, what she's saying here, as this was where the group of us would stay for out of region upstate tournaments. She would basically stay at this guy's Zephyr's house with a bunch of other people. And apparently it was at this guy Zephyr's house where all this stuff took place. Zephyr is a pred. He lured me, Puppy, and 5 other men from our region to his house to have sleepovers so he could get me drunk and SA me after I was too drunk to stay conscious. Multiple
Big
people.
Accusation.
Yeah,
massive accusation.
Massive accusation. Huge accusation, right? In her previous thing, she didn't name the person, but she goes ahead and she names him here. Multiple people, including Puppy, witnessed John pick me up and carry my body out of sight into his bedroom, where he decided to pull down my pants and assault me. I was barely conscious when it started and quickly passed out. He left me in that condition in his house where someone else decided it would be okay to touch me in that state as well. I never had any relationships with anybody there. This is another thing. Remember, we already know this to be. Well, we'll get into that. Imagine I never had any relationships with anybody there. They were just people I thought were my friends. I was an alcoholic because I was suffering from past RIPE trauma already, which I confided in Zephyr, who used the information to buy me alcohol and get me wasted. I thought I could trust them, but I'm stupid as fuck for being the only girl drinking in a house full of guys. I only knew for a short time through a video game. Obviously, I shouldn't have been heavily drinking there like that, but that doesn't mean I deserved it or it's my fault. And again, if any of this is true, obviously nobody deserves that. So, for months before we became friends or ever went to Zephyr's house, my only connection to Puppy was that he would consistently publicly bully and harass me in our Smash Brothers Facebook group page by making fun of my appearance, playstyle, placements in tournaments, and anyone who was nice to me. Puppy was the most prominent member in my community at the time. He was ranked first on our local PR and beat top players at major events. At the time, though I was 23, I was still heavily emotionally hurt by this harassment week after week, especially due to his friends and other attendees joining in on the jokes and ruining my tournament experiences just for being there. I wanted to become friends with him and his group in hopes of both stuff and because I felt that I could help him change as a person. I had heard rumors of his own previous traumas, something I had also experienced, so I felt I could relate and help. This turned out to tournaments due to fear of the against them. However, based on what Troy said in his post, I don't think Troy necessarily realized what he did was wrong. He was allowed in an adult environment by Zephyr that he never should have been in. He was failed by every adult there, including me, for participating in an inappropriate environment of partying, which is something I truly regret and I'm sorry for. I think Troy was confused by how friendly I was to him and thought it would be okay despite me never consenting to or asking for it. However, I will no longer allow myself to be blamed or blame myself for what happened to me in Zephyr's house. It wasn't fucking okay. Never sexually touch a blackout drunk woman or person. Never assume consent, no matter who you are or your status, your age, your gender. None of it matters. I blame myself for being assaulted for all these years. And now, 5 years later, those same people want to come out and make posts saying I was the one who assaulted them when I was the one vomiting, heavily intoxicated, and unconscious. Or can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think we're back. There we go. Sorry about that, folks.
Or can you hear me? Oh, there's your other stream. It works, John. It works.
Internet went down.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So where were we at? I think it was cutting out beforehand, and people were saying it was cutting out. So back.
I'm trying to remember. You're in the middle of reading. Was it Brennan's? Or the other guy, Zephyr, that dude, whatever his name is.
I was talking about. Actually, I was reading Senpai's thing about. Yeah. Hold on, let me see. So let me fix that real quick. Let me go back to that real fast. Let me close some of these windows too, just in case. So yeah, we were at her response. That's what it was. It was her response to everything. So she was saying, yeah, I believe Zephyr purposely neglected everyone's safety and brought us to his alcohol-fueled house for sleepovers in order to assault me. So my lawyer and I are fully prepared for a legal case against him. However, based on what Troy said in his post, I don't think Troy necessarily realized what he did was wrong. And by Troy, she means puppy. He was allowed in an adult environment by Zephyr that he never should have been in. He was failed by every adult there, including me, for participating in an appropriate environment of partying, which is something I truly regret and I'm sorry for. I think Troy was confused by how friendly I was to him and thought it would be okay despite me never consenting to or asking for it. However, I would no longer allow myself to be blamed or blame myself for what happened to me in Zephyr's house. It wasn't fucking okay. I never sexually touched a blackout drunk woman or person. Never assume consent no matter who you are, your status, your age, your gender. None of it matters. I blame myself for being assaulted all those years, and now 5 years later, those.
You're cutting out again, by the way.
The same people want me to come out and make posts. I might have to. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Yeah. Getting a bad internet connection here. All right, I don't know if y'all can hear me. It's on and off now. Okay, I might have to go ahead and reschedule the stream then because it's just not working with me right now for some reason. And I lost Aura, so I'm going on. So I think it's better now. Can you guys hear me? Can y'all hear me okay? It looks like it's back now. I don't know what's happening, why the connection is so bad. But Aura, if you're listening, try to come back in. Let me see if I can get you back in here. I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can, but we might have to reschedule the stream. Can you hear me now? Okay. Because I'm still getting a pretty bad connection here. Let me see. See what I can do about that. Okay. Looks like it's okay now. All right. Let me see if I can get Aura back in here. All right, let's see. All right, hopefully that's better now. Well, let me make sure I got nothing else running that is. All right, no, should be good. Okay, Let me see. So you see in her tweet longer, it says here, there's something interesting that she says here. I blame myself for being assaulted all these years. And now 5 years later, the same people want to come out and make posts saying I was the one who assaulted them, which I don't think any of them honestly said. I think it was really just Puppy. And it's just, well, there was somebody else that did say something, but who assaulted them. And I was the one vomiting, heavily intoxicated and unconscious. So here's one interesting thing, right? She said that she blacked out and was unconscious when this stuff happened, but yet she recalls all of it happening. So what was it? I mean, because look, when you black out, there are bits and pieces that you could remember of stuff that happened to you. But she seems to have a pretty vivid memory of being taken, carried out, being assaulted, apparently, and then being assaulted again. So she remembers a lot for somebody who, and again, it's not to say that it's not possible. I mean, she, like I said, there's bits and pieces that you can kind of recall when you black out. But she seems to have a very, like I said, a very detailed memory of events surrounding that night. So it says, everyone I called my friends the last year and thousands of strangers I'll never even know were so quick to immediately say they believe them, threatened to off me, which honestly, that's, nobody should be making any kind of threats. Obviously, that's we condemn that kind of stuff. And tell me to off myself, people shouldn't be doing that too. That I almost did. I continued to fucking blame myself for putting myself in a situation and almost effing killed myself immediately, like y'all kept telling me to. I wanted to stand up for myself and speak up about this 5 years ago, but I was terrified that no one would believe me. And that's exactly what fucking happened. I mean, you should have gone. Look, we talk about this all the time, right? If you think a crime occurred, go to the police. Go to the police immediately and put it on public record. Okay. I can't explain what this experience has done to me mentally, but I couldn't speak a fucking word. I just wanted to end it all. I am still petrified and mentally trying to speak about everything, but I can't die like this. I can't die with everyone believing the fucking lies and making up their own extra lies that no one ever even alleged in the first place. So there's the truth. With what evidence I could find, hopefully the other 5 people that were in the house with us will say something too, but I understand if they're afraid to get involved. I just want people to stop telling me to, off myself and leave me alone. I just wanted to help prevent other people from putting themselves in danger the way I did, especially young people suffering from trauma and turning to alcohol to cope. Please learn from this. Stay safe. So that was the statement that she put out in March. Okay. Regarding this stuff, which again flew completely under the radar. Had no idea that she had done that. And then she proceeds to provide receipts to back up her story, right? So here she's posting what I assume are the messages she was talking about where, Puppy, that's who this person is, who Troy is, that he apparently would bully her on this group, right? So it says, you've done better trolling, bro. This is a low tier troll status. Be yourself, Troy. Cinnamon gets 5th in every team's tournament, though. LOL. Who cares? It's funny AF. You're trying too hard and you're obsessing over it. You're like the reverse, whatever. LMAO. No, I'm not. This group needs some shit talk anyway. We need to find some girl who's 13 but looks like she's 8, just so Troy can have his own little cinnamon at the weeklies to preoccupy his time. And then he says, do it, find them. That's Puppy saying this stuff. Troy has gone from being kind of funny to being legitimately annoying and cringe-inducing. And then he says, don't even make me bring up whatever, LMFAO. And she goes on to provide this. Yeah, you do make money, Troy, but that doesn't seem to be enough for you. You look for people to troll because you're bored. It's cool. I get it. But GD, LOL. I mean, trolling is fun when people start getting seriously mad. My point you have to do is you have to do it enough and people started getting mad. Hold on, Aura's back. Aura, welcome back. Hopefully we won't lose any more connection.
Yeah, it does not want us talking about this today.
Yeah, apparently not. So this is I'm going over her evidence, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I was going to ask you before. I found her statement interesting, that she said that she blacked out and said that she was unconscious, but for a person that blacked out and was unconscious, she sure remembers a lot of details.
She recanted the whole event. She recanted the whole thing, and she recanted somebody else coming in and doing things to her as well. So I'm like, that's, I don't know. Usually a lot of people who go blackout drunk, or at least, I don't know, the people I know personally, they don't remember details like that. They remember bits and pieces, and it's like putting a puzzle back together.
Yeah. So. By and large, I mean, at least for me, I've experienced being blackout drunk. I don't remember the entire night. Like, I don't remember. I remember bits and pieces of maybe certain things that happened, but none of it will fill in. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really conclude exactly everything that led up to everything. It's just, like I said, it's just like you said, it's bits and pieces. It's just like of randomness. It's like, okay, what was that about? And that's,
well, like, sometimes you don't even question it, like, yo, did this really happen? Did I really, stuff like that?
Yeah, that I've experienced that too, where I would be told by somebody, yo, you did this, and I was like, I did what? You know what I mean? Like, really? I don't remember that at all. And I was like, yeah, you did this, you did this, you did this. So it's just like, unless somebody else that was there told her, told her what happened. I mean, yeah, it's just interesting that she says she was unconscious and blackout, but remembers very, she has a pretty detailed account, right? Says the guy got her drunk, the guy then carried her to his room, did whatever to her, and then put her somewhere else where somebody else did something to her.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it's enough to pull into question. It's very interesting that you recant most of the events, to bring such an accusation. You know what I mean? Like, that you just had that much recollection. Yeah. So, it's enough to be suspicious of, or it's enough to like question. So,
yeah. So here she's sharing like the bullying, the cyberbullying that this puppy kid would apparently do to her, right? He says, he's saying stuff. I mean, trolling is fun when people start getting seriously mad. My point is, you have to do it enough and people start getting mad. You don't think you've already made your point? Move on to something or someone else for now. I will. So I guess this was in regards to her. And for the record, Puppy hates me. His post was a copy of my post word for word. And what she's referring to is a post that she, I think, later shares here. So she puts this, which she no longer has Facebook, by the way. It's always good to hear that people you consider your friend enjoy laughing and talking shit about you. Damn, all I ever did was be nice to y'all. But whatever, it's not my fault. People like me. I can't help becoming better at everything I do by practicing every day. Sorry that makes you dislike me, whatever. And then he, I guess, copy and pasted her thing and says, that's it, just copy and pasted her post. And then she's showing like these DMs that are pretty much out of context, right? We don't have the full context of this, just her saying what I assume is her saying he was mad because someone told me that he was talking shit about me and he wanted to know who told me. I wouldn't tell him, so he sent that.
Yeah.
And then she has this message from, again, another out of context message from Puppy that says, it's cut off here, and if you want to say that to me, that's fine. And then I guess this is her. I presume this is her response. Well, okay, then just expect a lot of bad shit down the line, and I won't tell you why. I don't believe everything people say. Clearly one of your flaws, because this isn't the first time it's happened. Also, you should probably confront me before you go cry to other people about it, because it makes you sound bad when you are wrong. No, I believe this is him. I believe this is actually, again, we don't know the full context of this, but apparently this is a message Puppy sent her.
Yeah. Well, one of the confusing things about her is like she goes back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too, and I think this is worth bringing to people's attention. I don't see any date on here to know
Yeah.
exactly when any of this was. Because if you notice, it just says the date there, but this is say the year, right? December 25th.
Yeah.
But we don't know what year this took place.
There's context missing.
Yeah, there's definitely
context.
context missing. And again, there's selective messages that she's sharing, right?
Yeah.
So it says, please just leave me alone, puppy. I don't know why you want me to expect bad shit. Like, can't you just leave me alone? I said, oh, sorry. I won't ever, I assume she meant to say bother you again. Just please leave me alone. He says, no, F you. And then she shows this. Hi, Cinnamon. Someone tried to change your Facebook password and set your login email to OreoPuppy1 at Gmail by answering your security question on Sunday, 19th, 2016. So I don't know if this is true either, right? If you know, because this could be a fake screenshot. Maybe he was trying to hack into her account. Then we have these DMs again, out of context DMs. Don't know the full context to them, but this was apparently from 2016. This is the only time we see a timestamp here that she's provided in her screenshots that she shared from February of 2016. Singles should start like normal. We'll just start running games as setups are available. Hey, Ray, I know Puppy is our top player and all, but he's been targeting Cinnamon a lot. So I assume this was part of some kind of DM to TOs that she was also a part of.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, I know Puppy is our top player and all, but he's been targeting Cinnamon a lot lately for essentially no reason. Not asking you to do anything, just want to bring this to your attention. Then this person who is, I presume this is Ray. I noticed that too. I'll keep an eye out as well. If this keeps up, let me know.
Yeah.
And then it says, okay, or maybe that was just a message between, the TOs or whatever that they provided to her. Then it says, this is from 2016, February 2016. Okay, listen up. I am tired of seeing the salt from spilling over to personal attacks in this group. This is not a warning. This is a promise. If this keeps up, you'll be removed from the group regardless of who you are. This group is not for vendettas. It is for Smash-related topics, and everyone in this group need to man up and handle your own issues behind closed doors, not here in this group. There is currently no guidelines posted for this group. Do not make us have to be a group that needs them. So again, I don't know what what relevance that has to the overall point she's trying to make, outside of the fact, I guess, just trying to paint him as a little shitlord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little hassling shitlord.
Yeah.
But there's that, and then there's this, and this is I think the last one that she had, the last set of screenshots that she posted. Again, these are out of context. But it says, thanks for finally putting the foot down on this. Last night, I was so frustrated. I could have possibly ruined any ounce of respect I ever had. Was even considering never coming back. It was late. I didn't know what to do. Thanks for this. It should clear up what we need to do about toxicity in the community. It's not a fun subject to talk about, but we have 3 different players at TGS that are continually the targets for jokes that are taken way too far, and all 3 players have had hiatuses from the scene. I don't want to see that continue. So it says these were taken 5 years ago, but 5 years from when? Because I don't know how long she's had these screenshots. That's where dates would have really helped.
No, exactly. It's kind of like framing something. You would have to take her word for this entirely.
Exactly. And here's one that's even cut. So I would presume, right? She's showing something from 2015. So I would assume that the screenshots that she's showing were taken in 2020. I would assume that based on this, but I don't know. I can't say that. I can't say that beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no way to know for sure when these were, taken.
Yeah.
I just read this and could not agree more. I truly do not want to think he is talking about any of our guys from here that go. And then this seems to be from a separate, I feel like from a separate group, right?
Yeah.
Because it's cut right here. And then it says, Anvil used to be an event that I would look forward to every Sunday. During the beginning weeks, the people that came here were just all happy Smash fans that wanted to get better at the game. Ever since Sova came down and some of Nova, this community had turned so hostile and toxic. What's up, Aura? You gonna say something?
No, my bad.
Oh,
keep going.
y'all need to shape up and stop trying to act like one region is better than the other, because a lot of us truly do not care. That's not what a community is supposed to be about. Again, what does this have to do? So I'm looking at this. I'm like, what does this have to do with this kid, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of shifting, dude. Like this person, Zephyr, came out of nowhere in the middle of like not even really responding to Puppet or his, his accusations.
Well, yeah, and then Zephyr. Well, we're gonna get to Zephyr in a moment. So it says, so a Xanadu trip would be me, you, so and so, and Troy, and we'd stay at Zephyr's. If that's the group, then my initial issue becomes irrelevant, and I guess we'll go. Oh, okay. What was the issue? Just wondering. So I don't know who's who in this, right? I don't know if this is one of her DMs. I don't know what date it took place. I don't know if this is her in the red responding, or if this is. I'm not. Well, she's smearing this out, so I would assume this is not her. But then again, I don't know that this in the red is her either. You know what I mean? I guess we would have to assume. So there's a lot of stuff that it's not. None of it is very detailed. It's just kind of a bunch of stuff thrown in there with no real explanation outside of her previous statements on this. And it's kind of like, well, you fit the pieces in. It's just like, well, it would have helped if you would have gone point per point what each of these means. But she doesn't do that. So now we get to Zephyr. Now is when we get to Zephyr.
Let's do it.
So Zephyr is the person that she is now accusing of being the one that assaulted her. And Zephyr had also, back in 2020, actually on the 3rd of July, had made his own tweet longer, responding to Senpai, right? Or his experiences with Senpai. So he says, my experiences with Cinnamon Dunson, Senpai, emotional abuse, manipulation, unwanted sexual molestation. As early as 2016, Senpai and I discussed the possibility of living together, as we had what I believe to be a strong friendship from the start. I tried to make sure she understood that she would need to get a job and contribute to the house, both financially and with cleaning and stuff, to make it work. The original concept involved me moving out of my house and down to Virginia Beach area, mainly due to location-based trauma that I was trying to avoid processing. Although we talked about it several times throughout the year, I was extremely hesitant to leave my house and area, and nothing ever materialized from it. So I'm going to show the screenshot that he shares here, because he links screenshots after every one of his little posts here. So this is the first one where this says right here, this is the gray is her. The gray is allegedly her, and then the blue is him. So Zephy, then he says Cinny. Then she says, what sort of serious talk do we need to have in order? And this was on March 2nd of 2016, according to what it says up here. Okay, so it says, what sort of serious talk do we need to have in order to make things seem even remotely realistic? I just really need to get out of here. I've been talking with a couple people about trying to move out there, and there's some interest, but to be honest, I would rather live with you over anyone. I just don't want to wait anymore because I hate it here. I couldn't sleep tonight just thinking about some bullshit from the past. But fuck, sorry, I'm rambling. But anyways, I know you have a house or something you're already staying in, so I don't know if you would actually even be able to leave that, and I don't want to leave my area either, so it's totally okay if it's not feasible within the super near, and I mean extremely soon, future. I just wanted to talk with you before I tried making plans with others. Now, mind you, according to what she herself has said, she made it seem like, she almost made it seem like this is not a guy that she was too familiar with, or at least that's the way it comes across in her statements. But we'll get into more detail about that. So he responds, okay, first off, don't ever apologize for rambling, especially when you're upset. Hug. I'm sorry you had a bad night. Me too. We'd have to talk about the financial stuff, how much of what we both be responsible for. I'd need to feel confident that you'd be getting enough hours to cover your part. No offense whatsoever to you, but I don't want to pay for everything. I've been there twice. Why would you rather live with me? Serious question. I'm curious. I'm touched by you saying it. I just don't know what I'd have going for me that other people wouldn't. I can leave my house whenever I choose to. It'd be hard to do because it's paid off. So my only monthly bills are electric and stuff. Moving into an apartment would mean less space and more expenses. but it would also mean having someone I enjoy talking to and being around close by, which would be wonderful. I totally get your wanting to stay in that area. I don't have much of an attachment up here, but I'd have to figure out a job if I moved down there, and I'd have to pay at least, and it'd have to pay at least decently well. Then she puts hugs. I'm just stressed, but I don't mean to clamor you with all of this. I told you before. He says, I told you before. I'm here if you ever need to vent/talk. You aren't bothering me at all, so don't stress about that. At least I'm sorry I can't always be as open with my stuff. Then she says, I appreciate you getting back to me, though. And to be honest, you're just someone I get along with easily. And easy is literally the best compliment I can give a friendship. It's seamless with. I don't feel like I have to impress you or put on the super happy cinnamon face to hang around you. We have a lot in common and talk without hesitation to one another. I like to think I give you that level of comfort and ease as well. At least I hope I do. No, it's okay. I think you're open with me, and I try to be there for you best I can, and I'm pretty bad at things like that. But as far as financially, I would need to get a secure job first as well. I work at TGS right now, but I barely make enough to pay my bills. No, actually, I don't make enough to pay my bills. So this is the first screenshot he shared of DMs between them, where she's basically propositioning, a living situation with the guy. Then we have, all right, we'll go back to his tweet longer. He says, all right, let me open this in the next one. So it says, after she moved in, her boyfriend, Wadi, which we know, which I explained earlier, that's the guy who eventually became her husband, began to visit her on a daily basis. And it got to the point where he would stay over almost every night. This in itself wouldn't have been an awful thing, but Senpai seemed content to live a relatively low-stress life and showed no interest in finding a job. We talked near the end of 2016, and I reiterated that she needed to work on getting a job and taking care of herself, especially if I decided to move out of the area, which I was still considering at this point. After this talk, she began to cry, and I comforted her, feeling badly about her being upset, but resolute that she needed to change things. After this talk, she sent me a long message essentially stating that she didn't want or really need a traditional job and how important I was to her. So this is a message from 2016. Okay. Now, when this situation with Pape and her was alleged to have taken place, I believe he says Pape claims that it took place sometime in the summer of 2016. Never gave a specific month, but sometime in the summer of 2016 at this guy's house, this guy Zephyr's house. So this is her long ass message. You see here, this is December 30th, 2016. When she sent this, and this is a Twitter DM. She says, so I was thinking about it, and I remembered that the only reason I stopped looking into jobs that weren't stay at home was because of the cycle of fuck that's created by the whole need car insurance to get a car, need a job to get car insurance, need a car to get a job thing that I'm trapped in. So I started distracting myself with gaming and Wadi and smoking and just enjoying my life overall. I wonder, I'm assuming she means smoking, pot.
Yeah,
right?
It's got to be.
Like, I'm still working towards my goal of becoming a professional Smash player by living this way, but I don't know if it bothers you seeing me do this or anything, which I can understand if it does, because I'm not doing as much work as you have to do every day, and yet I get to live here, which you have to work to do. So I'm sorry if that has annoyed you at all or anything like that. I guess for me personally, I haven't felt the need or desire for a job, because if I need money, I'll get it. I'll find a way or whatever, but I don't feel like I need it at all, which, by the way, I can give you money, give you your money I owe you whenever. And I honestly get more depressed and bummed out when I'm working, because it both kills me, it both kills my creativity, and I'm not the type of person who can be alone with their thoughts, which is honestly why I like being around you and Wadi so much, because I go to a dark place when I'm alone, and I just want to pretend like it doesn't exist. Seems like an awfully convenient excuse to not work, but okay. But anyways, I haven't been avoiding jobs, just not actively looking either. I guess because I have just finally been feeling so happy lately, and like things are going the way I've wanted them to for once. So I wasn't concerning myself with something I didn't feel like I needed. Hell, I honestly don't care where I end up after this. It makes me sad that you're leaving because you're the first person who I've ever lived with that I never got into fights with or felt like they were a pervert trying to do something or someone trying to control me. Huh? That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So these are her, presumably these are her words, right? He's never,
Yeah.
apparently they've been living together for some time at this point, but he's never tried to, I guess, make any kind of advances towards her.
Yeah. Well, dude, like this is she took advantage of this guy and is using him for like free living to pursue a fucking dream of being a Smash player. Like literally, that's what's going on. I'm working on being a pro Smash player, so I kind of got to do like live this way.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
interesting. And that's what it seems. That's for sure what it seems like. And you know, she's saying that at least, like I said, it doesn't seem like, at least from our message here, that he hasn't tried to make any kind of advances towards her, and has respected the fact that she has a boyfriend. You just care about me and want me to be happy. You're my best friend, and it really upsets me to know you're leaving. To be honest, there's nowhere else I want to go, and no one else I want to live with besides maybe Wadi, and even then, I'm not so sure. What you and I have is different from what I have with them, and I feel more secure with you because it's an actual connection that can't be broken by something stupid. Like things often are ruined in relationships, like G
Very
Money.
manipulative. It's very manipulative.
Like G Money. So acknowledging that she did have a relationship with Glyph Money, right? Because that's what G Money is. We can both just always be there for each other and enjoy the other's company. But I don't know, like I was saying earlier, it feels like lately that you don't feel as happy as you once did around me. I wish I could know all the things to do and all the wrong things to not do, so that we could just go back to how we were when I first moved in and felt like I made you happy. I don't want you to move away, but if you're not happy, you're not happy. And in the end, the happiness is all I want for you. If you can find that somewhere else, then I would never try to stop you. But I'll ask just one time only. Please don't go, Zephyr. I'll miss you so much, and I hope you don't think I just mean for where I get to live, because it's not just about living here. It's about living with you, someone who understands me and lets me be myself, who take care of me because you, let me see. Understands me. You take care of me because you actually care, and you open up to me sometimes, and that really makes me feel like I matter to you. I need that feeling. Ugh, I'm so sorry. Enough about that. Back to what I was saying originally. If you do move, I don't care where I wind up, and the point up to that point, it's here or nowhere. To be honest, I guess I'll just go back home. It doesn't matter. There's not really any better alternatives anywhere else, regardless, because it won't be me and you. This sounds really like
flirtatious.
It sounds very
it's like,
so she's like playing to his, it feels like she's playing to his ego a little bit, while also kind of guilt tripping him. You know what I mean?
It's manipulative. It's flirty. Like she told him that she's more comfortable and feels better around him than her own boyfriend, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it's gonna do to a guy with like low self-esteem and somebody who like you're already walking all over? It's gonna boost. You know, it's gonna make him feel good. It's gonna make him feel like he's doing something. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, it just the way it comes across. That's definitely the way it comes across, and this sounds like she's also kind of guilt tripping him a little bit. Like, oh, don't leave. You know, if you leave, you know, oh, maybe I'll just go back home. But you know, I don't really want to go. Like, you know, it's just, I don't like the way this is coming across.
Manipulative.
And again, yeah, it does come off as super manipulative. See, and then she's saying stuff like this. It's not necessarily any better alternatives. So I guess the sum up of this is, I'm not looking for a job because I'm already in a career line I want to be in. I look at myself as an intern, and I'm learning my field of work, training with employees and other interns, traveling for jobs, and improving every day. I'm going to be somebody someday, and I can feel it. You believed in me every minute of every day since the beginning, and I just don't want you to give up on me. Please keep believing in my dreams, and unless you need me to start paying you or something, I'm okay with not looking into a job just yet. Although I will take up your advice on streaming more often. You're right about that. More publicity. But More working, more training can't hurt. Also, take your advice on the flip kick limiting thing, but that's off topic. Anyways, I just want to say I love you, and I'm sorry I've done anything to bother you or make your days less than they were before I showed up. You mean a lot to me, and I'll never be able to repay you for everything you've done for me. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, please tell me. I love you a lot, Zeph. Get back to me whenever you can. And this is December 30th of 2016. Now, mind you, from the way that she put her statement, she makes it seem like this is just some guy whose house that her and other Smash players would stay at. No, this is a guy that she lived with. And that's a very important detail that she left out of her little statement.
Yeah.
And at no point in time in any of her statements, nor the one last year. Now keep that in mind, chat. At no point in time in last year's statement, when she was alluding to this guy being a guy that abused her, did she ever mention the fact that she was roommates with him, that this was essentially her roommate? You swear that this was just an acquaintance. The way that she puts it, the way that she presents it, it would lead you to assume that this is just an acquaintance she met like on the Smash scene. She leaves out the fact that this was actually her roommate, that she lives with this guy. And again, that's if we're to believe like his screenshots, right? Because people can say, oh, the screenshots could be faked, but
Yeah.
That's a very Go ahead, Aura.
No, go ahead, finish your thought real quick.
Oh yeah, I mean that's assuming that what he's saying is, if we're to take anything he's saying is true, right? Because he's bringing his receipts.
Well, not only is he bringing his receipts, but I'm saying, you even pointed out, there's more context to it. We know what dates are. We know what's going on. He's posting actual conversations they had. Keep in mind, she said this guy, assaulted her, and she never mentioned that, she lived there, and she's saying how awesome it is to live with him. She can't live with anybody else. She feels great with him. You see what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. She said that this individual lifted her up, took her away, ripped her pants down, assaulted her, and left her to be messed with by other dudes.
Yeah, be assaulted by other people.
Yeah. This is the same individual who he's showing the messages when she's saying, I'd rather not live with anybody but you. I trust you more than my boyfriend and shit.
Yeah,
I can live with you more. Yeah. So how does that work?
Yeah, it's just very weird. So here's the next part of this, right? It says a couple of weeks later, Senpai informed me that she'd been hired at a brew house that was about a 20-minute drive from my house, which I live in the middle of nowhere. Almost any job will be a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes away. I congratulated her, and when I asked how she would get to from work, she told me that her plan involved having Wadi drive her and using rideshare services when he couldn't. I don't believe that she lasted more than a week or two at most at her job before she quit and things returned to quote-unquote normal for a bit. I don't know whether she thought her making that minimal effort would satisfy me for a time. In early February, I sat Senpai down for another serious talk, and I reiterated my previous points about her needing some kind of contributable income. I also told her that her boyfriend couldn't live at the house with her. Him being there almost 24/7 wasn't part of our original discussion, and having an unexpected extra person in my house was having an adverse effect on me. I told her that she was welcome to come spend time with her, that he was welcome to come spend time with her and occasionally stay over, but it couldn't be every night. She readily agreed to everything, and then identically to our last conversation like that, she began to cry. Although I felt bad about causing her emotional reaction, I held firm to what I told her. There's a bit more to this portion of the story, but I'll address it near the end of this document. I sent Senpai a message in mid-February letting her know that I didn't think our living situation could continue. I tried to keep it as diplomatic and friendly as possible, communicating my feelings without assigning blame for why it wasn't working. She responded back with her side of things, but ultimately agreed to work on finding a new place to live by the end of March. By mid-March, she had left my house and did not return. She left most of her belongings, including her bed, in a room of my house for at least 6 to 8 months until she and Wadi returned to load them up and take them to wherever they were staying. So why didn't she just go with her boyfriend to begin with?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, why didn't she just go live with her boyfriend to begin with? So here's the message Again, Twitter message. You see, this is February 13th now, 2017. According to this message, it says, okay, I'll see you there. That's all right. And then he says, Dear Senpai, I hope your time with Wadi has been going well. I'm glad that you've had the chance to spend time with him.
Yeah.
You seem happiest when you're with him lately. That's part of the reason for this message. I just don't think that our living situation is working out. I don't think that it's the fault of either one of us specifically. Maybe just that we just aren't as compatible living together wise as we thought. It seems like you're not really happy unless Wadi is here with you. And to me, it seemed like this has been more of a place for you to crash or whatever when you're not with him. We haven't really spent any time together lately. And again, I'm not blaming that on you or anything. It's just that it's all working out a bit differently than I expected. And at this point, I'm not sure that the situation is ideal for either one of us. I spent the past several days thinking about everything, but I don't think there's a perfect solution to this. I don't want Wadi living at the house for a variety of reasons, but you shouldn't feel like you can't spend time with him. There isn't an easy answer to this, so I've come up with the answer that I think is best for the long run. Although it isn't a great short term, I'm open to hear your thoughts, but I'd like for you to find a new place to live by the end of March. Again, please understand that this isn't because of anything specific that you did. I just don't think that our current situation is working, and it's not something that I believe we can resolve. I don't want to end our friendship as I still care about you, so I hope that you won't take this as anything in that regard. I'll be glad to help you with either moving stuff as I can or whatever else around my work schedule and everything, or talk or whatever you might want. I'm sorry that this hasn't worked out as well as we hoped that it might. Then it says, then this is the next part. She says, it's okay, Zeph. No need to apologize. I've personally been thinking the same. I feel like we have an incredible friendship, but when we started living together, everything shifted. We used to talk almost every single day about deep things and personal feelings. Now it sort of feels like both of us walk on eggshells around the other one. I never meant to come in and have Wadi over so often. To me, I never even noticed how much time would go by from when he came to when he leaves. But I'm sure for you, it's got to be aggravating, especially when you've mentioned it to me a few times and I still make the same stupid mistakes over and over again. I'm sorry that you had to deal with my bullshit and me in general for so long. I know you're saying it wasn't anything specific I did, but partially it is. And I'm sorry that I wasn't a better house guest. I just don't want our friendship to go back to the way it was. I love you so much, Zephyr. You're incredibly important to me. I'll never in my life be able to repay you for helping me in my time of need and giving me a home. It means the world to me that you have been there for me for so long. I just hope that we can be close again. It makes me sad thinking that you're willing to travel hours to go visit Officer Jenny for a short time, and yet you and I live together. And the other time it really feels like you wanted to be around me was when was if we were cuddling or something. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You cuddling with a fucking another dude that's not your fucking boyfriend?
Yeah. I mean, isn't that surprising?
Like this is the kind of shit she was doing with Puppy too, and I don't know when it was that, you know, she started dating this Wadi guy. I don't know when. I think I would assume sometime around this time here, right in 2017 or late or sometime in 2016. But
Yeah.
this is right. She's talking about cuddling or something. Now I'm wondering if this is prior to or when she was with this guy, right?
Yeah.
But
So
I guess not, because look at what it says here. But with me having Wadi over time, I've become less okay with cuddling with anyone else. I don't want that to feel like I care. Okay, so she was. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I would infer from the way this is worded, right? I mean, did she stop when she started dating the guy, or was she still like getting, like, you know what I mean?
What, with Wadi?
No, with this guy, with Zephyr.
Oh, that's Zephyr. Yeah, dude. Sorry, there's so many. I'm like, there's Wadi, and then if you read who was the one, Glyph Money? If you read his story, like there was I think he was involved with her, and she was involved with somebody else at 3 a.m.
Yeah, she cheated him. So I mean, I could, and that's the thing. So I could kind of buy this whole thing of like, maybe when she still was starting to date this guy Wadi, that she was probably still cuddling up with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, less okay with cuddling with anyone else. I don't want that to feel like I care about you any less. It just adds to our rift, I think. So I'm sorry. I'm just grateful that you also want to hold on to our friendship. I honestly think that you did. I'll be out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Then he responds, it wasn't at all that I didn't want to be around you. It's just that when I was around you, it seemed like you weren't enjoying it as much. When it did happen, it always seemed to me like you'd constantly be on your phone. I'm not sure if it was talking to Wadi or not. It wasn't any of my business, but it left me with the impression that you always felt other things were more important or more enjoyable than us spending time together. It's also been a while since the three of us did anything together. It used to be that we'd play Smash or Overwatch or whatever together, but these days, when he's over, the two of you are just holed up in your room, and I just feel like there's no room for me in what you're doing. I'm not saying that's the case, just how it feels. I think that the reason we don't talk as much or have as deep conversations, honestly, is because my importance in your life has been diminished by you having Wadi in yours. I'm not making that statement out of anger or resentment or any kind of negative emotion, but out of what I think is simple truth. We connected and got along really well, and that's a large part of the reason our friendship grew so deep, but also because it seemed like you didn't have that with anyone else. Now that you have it with Wadi, it's only natural that you'd feel like it's less of a priority to maintain that with me. Again, no anger or anything there, just observing and thinking out loud. That's not to say that we can't have that kind of friendship we did, but I think that you have to find balance if it's something you want, whether it's with me or anyone else. Right now, whenever you're around Wadi, you are 110% focused on him. That's not a bad thing in and of itself, especially if you're trying to plan more stuff with him in the future. But that also means that you're going to potentially struggle to maintain deeper friendships with other people. I can't tell you one way or the other what would be best because I'm not you. I want you to do what makes you happy. Just be careful about putting all of your emotional eggs in Wadi's basket just in case. I've never minded not cuddling with you. I never expected it, particularly given your relationship with Wadi. So she was fucking like, you know what I mean? So this guy, it's obvious that this guy had a thing for her, right? It's pretty obvious. You know what I mean? And I think he also admits to the fact, you know, prior to them moving in together, that he admits to the fact that prior to them moving or her moving in, that he expressed how he felt about her, but that she didn't reciprocate. But here she is, she's living with him and she's like giving him mixed signals. You know what I mean? Because she's doing stuff with him that you would expect somebody in a relationship to do, like cuddling. That's a very affectionate and personal thing to do with somebody. So they move in together, they're friends, but maybe he's thinking, well, maybe something is going to happen between us. Maybe we'll have a friendship that could develop into a romance. But then she starts going out with this other guy. But while she's going out with this other guy, she's still like doing like, you know, she's still showing this guy a form of affection, which to me is like, and he's thinking, okay, well, maybe she's not serious with that other guy. You know what I mean? Oh, but she is serious with that other guy because she's always spending time with him. She's talking with him. So he doesn't know. Like, he's like fucking like, okay, well, I don't, you know what I mean? You know, and I'm saying, look, he should have known better though, too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel bad for this guy in this regard either. That doesn't mean that he deserves to have an accusation against him that might not be true because of the fact that he might have been doing this whole thing of trying to be the shoulder to cry on and trying to be the guy to pick up the pieces in case things didn't work out with her and her boyfriend. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because dudes like that are weak too. You know what I mean? And that never ends up well for guys that do that shit either. The guys that try to be the friend, the shoulder to cry on, that want to pick up the pieces afterwards and shit. If a girl breaks up with her boyfriend, you know, holding on to hope that something might still happen, you know, he's a sucker. You know? So it says, I never minded not cuddling with you. I never expected, particularly given your relationship with Wadi. I hope that you don't think that hope of doing that or anything else was the reason I ever wanted to be around you. So honestly, I agree that I give him 110% of my attention and time, but I don't think that means I can't or won't be able to give it to others. Maybe it's because we live together that it doesn't work because I have close friends like Black Yoshi. That's the guy that she cheated on the G Money guy with, apparently, who I act the same around Wadi in front of him as I do around you, but it hasn't affected my friendship with Gerard at all. I feel like because there was sort of always a question of something more between us than friendship, that Wadi's presence makes our friendship feel or seem to you that it's less important to me. And I'll admit, I'm certainly addicted to my phone. I'm always on it, posting, texting, looking at Twitter, talking to someone, taking selfies, reading dumb things, and it's even to the point that I lately have have been not hearing things people are trying to say to me because I'm so absorbed into it. Wadi even had to talk to me about it because he kept trying to talk to me, and I would literally not respond because I'm deep in my phone. And the only reason that lately we don't hang out is because I felt like you didn't want to be around us or do things together. Even when it was just you and me, when we play Overwatch, you'd be sort of angry, slamming the mouse and sort of bossing me around or asking why I would do certain things. And it just really didn't feel like you were having any fun with me. And to be honest, I wasn't having fun being drilled. And it almost never feels like you want to be around Wadi, which I understand since I would bring him over so much. So I would try to just head to my room and stay out of your way, hopefully not to be a nuisance in the out of sight, out of mind type of way. But now I can see that it more just came off as like, yeah, I'll be over here and you can be over there. I'm just so bad at everything, not trying to throw a pity party here. But I literally screw everything up about 80% of the time. I always mean well, and yet I don't think things all the way through. Though, I'm sorry. Just don't even worry. I'm fine now, thanks to you, and I'll find a place. Thank you for everything. I will put time and effort into repairing our friendship. Love you. Sad face.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is just a mess. Seems like a mess of a situation to be in.
Well, dude, it's crazy because like thinking back to her response prior to all this shit, she didn't address any of this shit. She doesn't address what is it, Glyph Money. She does, she tries to out Zephyr. She doesn't address most of the allegations by Puppet. She just tries to call him like a fucking bully instead. Like it's really weird.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of deflection. It's a whole
Yeah.
lot of deflection on her part, not really addressing things.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing too about all this is the lack of detail regarding, because that's a serious accusation to make against somebody, that he essentially got you drunk and then took advantage of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then on top of it, right? You're also alleging that on top of him assaulting you, that he also put you in place to be assaulted by others.
Yeah.
And then you leave out a very important detail, and that is, again, if these are all real screenshots from Zephyr, that you lived with this guy.
Yeah.
And presumably you lived with him either around the time or close to the time that this whole situation with Puppet took place. Because that's the other thing too. There's no specific. She's saying, I could only assume, right?
Yeah.
That it was around the time that Puppy alleges that it happened. And it was the summer of 2016. And she's saying that it was Zephyr and, there was other guys there, and apparently somebody else that did something with her. She hasn't talked about any other instance that I've seen in any of her public statements. You know what I mean? So I can only assume that she's referring to that particular instance that Puppy is also talking about. Okay. Because she hasn't made any kind of distinction yet. And I would think that if it was a completely different event, she would have said as much. She would have said, hey, well, the event in question that I'm talking about happened around this time. When she addresses the situation, when she addresses the situation, let's go back to her statement real quick, just to be sure. Because
this is a conspiracy theory. I know I'm going to forget it, so I'm telling you now. She mentioned that even prior to the Zephyr allegation, that she had been assaulted prior to this shit, right? Because she said she confided in him and told him that, she became an alcoholic, which she's the only one who says she's an alcoholic, by the way.
Yeah.
So she became an alcoholic due to being assaulted. What if she's like flipping the story and basically just changing the name with Zephyr? Could that be a possibility? I feel like that could be. Maybe this stuff did happen, but not with Zephyr. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, and
it's just
weird,
right?
Right. So this was her initial one. She talks about being 23 in 2016, an immature 23-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And then she talks about this, right? A situation that happened, doesn't specify when, but we could only assume, like I said, that it's the situation that Pape is referring to that happened sometime in the summer of 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's not refuting that it happened in that time. She's not refuting that it happened in 2016.
Yeah.
Which, again, you see those messages, right? So you're telling me that you lived with a guy who assaulted you up until 2017?
Exactly. You told him not to leave.
Yeah.
You told him not to leave. You said you feel better living with him than whatever.
Yeah, and so this is her statement from a few days ago, right? Where she named him, right?
Yes.
And cover up what he was doing all those years ago. So, and she says that he lured her
Yes.
from our region to his house. She was living there, or she was either living there already, or maybe this could be possibly before she moved in. But remember, they started talking about her moving in as early as February of this, or March, I think, of that year.
Yeah.
So all right, hold on. Let me go back up here to his tweet longer real quick. So sometime around November 2016. So she was okay. So it was November 2016 when she proposed the idea. So yeah, this would have taken place. She would have moved in with him after she was apparently assaulted at his house.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to anybody? That if you were assaulted at this guy's house, right, prior to you moving in, why would you ever go live with him?
No, exactly, dude. Like it's sus as fuck. It always has been. It was questionable. It was questionable to begin with. You know what I mean? Especially like with her legal response and the cease and desist and shit. It was still weird because she at the very end is like, if I did do it, then it's not my fault. And now it's just like more non-addressing, but addressing, but non-addressing. Like she's just talking about shit she wants to talk about that's not answering anybody's questions.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's really all over the place. It's just like,
she's dragging everyone in. Like, Pape only talked about this individual. She's talking about Glyph Money. She's talking about everybody. Zephyr, everybody. So
yeah, and here's the thing, right? So what's interesting about all of it? Okay, again, as early as March 2016, Senpai and I discussed the possibility of living together. So they discussed it in as early as March of 2016. So she was familiar with this guy prior to that, right? They discussed the possibility. And then they revisited the idea again after this alleged assault would have taken place.
Yeah.
They discussed the idea of living together again.
Yeah.
I would think that it wouldn't come up again at all if something happened.
Yeah.
It's not to, and again, look, it's not to say, look, it's always a possibility that it could have happened. I don't know. I'm not saying it didn't. I can't say with any kind of certainty. I'm just saying that there's just things here that are weird that don't really line up for me.
Yeah.
And kind of speak a little bit to her character a little bit.
It's too chaotic, and it didn't make her look good, especially like, honestly, if she just would have never responded to anything, apart from like, a couple weeks ago and shit, like I would have forgotten all about her because I did, her address is just fucking bizarre as shit. And then like lining things up, it doesn't make any sense. The people you're accusing are bringing more receipts to the table with more context to them. We can make a timeline out of it. Your stuff is very broad, very vague. Like, there's the obvious like diced things out. There's like no time, timetable, no time frame, no nothing. So we kind of have to just believe her with like half-assed evidence, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like the people that are like this guy, right? The Zephyr guy is providing context to the receipts that he has. Now, granted, look, there might be more context that is missing. He might be being very selective as well.
Yeah.
But at least he's giving you an explanation as to what he's showing. He's giving you a little bit more to go on. Whereas Senpai is just kind of like, well, here's all the shit, you know, fit it how you think it fits.
Pretty much.
So it says here, Senpai and I only occasionally saw each other at Smash events for the next several months. Our relationship became strained and we exchanged some terse messages, though we always tried to repair things until everything became clear to me and I blocked her on everything months later. So now, after all that, I'd like to touch on the emotional and sexual manipulation that Senpai exhibited in February 2016. I told Senpai that I liked her, but added that if it didn't happen, I still valued her friendship and didn't want that to change. She thanked me for that and stated she wanted to pursue a relationship with another smasher, G Money, which we already went over. That's Glyph Money. And we know how that ended up. She basically cheated on that guy, according to what he said.
With Black Yoshi, right?
With a guy named Black Yoshi, allegedly, because can't say with any kind of certainty because he didn't really provide receipts. It's just his claim. The only one that's really provided detailed receipts has been this Zephyr guy so far.
And then there's actually like footage of her being weird with Puppy.
Yeah, we'll go over that too. Because she addressed that. She addressed that in her response.
Yeah.
Which I found I found that to be interesting. So here's the DM he's talking about. Now this is from the 1st of February 2016. So this is before they initially discussed moving in together, a month before that. So she says, I just woke up for work as well. It's a bit early, but meh. And then he says, I've got no one to tell and no reason to embarrass you. Well, that works out, LOL. I hope I wasn't too weird last night, he says. I was really tired and my filter was all kinds of gone. So just to put it out there, in case it wasn't stupid, in case it was, I guess he meant to say in case it wasn't stupidly obvious, I really like you, Cinny. I think you're all kinds of amazing. I always have fun around you. More so, I appreciate that you appreciate you and like you for being you and not some concept of a cool girl or something like that. All that being said, I know you're working out your own emotions about G Money and focusing on your job and streaming and everything else. And I don't want to put any kind of stress or pressure on you or anything. That's why I didn't bring up anything about our possible date this past weekend. I'm trying to be chill about it, but I just want to make sure you knew that I like you. Definitely keep in mind though that if it isn't mutual or you want to try to see how things go with G Money, that's fine. I'm not going to freak out or stop being your friend or anything. I like having you as a friend too much for all that. Then she put a little heart. And then she says, thank you for the last sentence. That is something I struggle to have with people a lot. If the time because they get caught up on their feelings for me, sometimes I lose friends over it. I'm glad you're not one of those guys. Honestly, I think you're awesome too, but I definitely do want to see where my feelings for G Money go before anything else. I'm kind of bad at handling my emotions as is, so I generally only like one person at a time, but it seriously means a lot that you will not change and we can continue to get close. You're cool, Zephyr. Thank you for telling me all of this. The way I see it, if people don't want to be a friend because you don't have feelings for them, they weren't really worth having as friends anyways. It's a little harsh, but I feel like it's true. And then she put the little arrows up. So here we go. Let's go back to the twit longer. It continues on. It says, during the time that Sova Smash players would regularly come and stay at my house for several days, Senpai told me how much enjoyment she got from messing with Hero. I don't know who that is. Messing with Hero. Potentially without his consent. So I don't know who that is being referenced there. Maybe that's another Smash player. Yeah. She indicated that she immensely enjoyed touching him and pushing his boundaries. I also found out about multiple instances of Senpai talking down about me to her other friends. In one instance, immediately after performing oral sex on her boyfriend, she took a drink of my milkshake, then laughed about it afterwards. Last and potentially most serious bit here. This comes. Hold on, let me see here. Wait, is this the one that I opened up? Okay, hold on. Give me a sec. This is G Money stuff. Okay. Oh, here we go. All right. So, let me show you the. Well, we'll show the most the manipulation he's talking about in a moment, because I want to get through the rest of what he says here real quick. So it says, last and potentially most serious bit here. This comes essentially right after the conversation I had with Senpai at the beginning of February. At the end of our conversation, Senpai asked me if we could cuddle for a bit to help her to feel better. I agreed, and we laid like that for a few minutes. Unexpectedly, and before I fully realized what she was doing, Senpai had shoved her hand down my pants and was gripping and stroking me. Let me be very clear about this. Although I had openly told Senpai that I was interested in her through the course of our friendship, and we were comfortable cuddling up with each other, we did not have a relationship beyond that, especially because she was with Wadi at the time. Unfortunately, my hormones impaired my judgment at that point, and I didn't immediately pull away from her. Instead, I told her that if she didn't pull her hand out of my pants, I would put my hand in hers in return. Her only response was to open her legs slightly. We lay like that for several more minutes before the wrongness of the situation pierced through my hormone-induced haze, and I got up and moved away from her. So it's a very interesting way for him to put it, and I'll go over this last little bit here, but I want to show this here real quick, because this is what he's talking about in regards to her manipulation, and it kind of falls in line with what G Money was saying in regard to her using her sexuality to manipulate. It's kind of consistent with his story on that. So it says, and pull me out of my bad moves. Glad it helps. She put a little heart. Obviously, I am too. Got to make sure my hand works too, have fun. Same. Want to see the hottest picture I've ever taken? And he says, yes. And then she sends a picture of Zero Suit Samus. No, but really. And he says, oh, goddamn, those are some creepy F me eyes. Now, this is in September of 2016. Okay. Just for
reference.
Context here. Yeah, just for reference. No, but really, oh my goodness, those are some F me eyes. And then she posts what is, I can only assume, is a nude of herself, or a topless nude of herself.
Yeah.
Because he's covering it here. No words except holy effing shit. Then apparently she sends him another one. Allegedly.
She's standing in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It also apparently finds Xanadu's. Also, I apparently find Xanadu's bathroom arousing. Then he puts OMG Cinny, and then she puts little emoji with hearts or whatever. I can't handle this. Rip straight hair. Damn, that looks good. Yes, it does. Don't worry, you'll have it again soon. And then she posts what is presumably a picture of her butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nude.
Yep.
And what is this? Perfect butt. Thank you. No way, just stating a fact. Thank you for sharing those with me. You're welcome. I get rather teasy when I'm horny.
Mm-hmm.
No kidding. Yeah, that's an interesting way to talk to your good friend. So here's a message.
I'm gonna message that to Crow. I don't think he'll respond.
Huh?
I'm gonna message that same thing to Crow. I'm gonna copy and paste her responses and message Crow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a photo.
See what happens. But yeah, they're supposed to be just friends. Remember, he already expressed how he felt about her, right? And I would think if you're wanting to just keep a person a friend, legitimately a friend, you're not going to do things that are going to send a possible mixed message to him, right? That makes it seem like you could potentially be interested in him. And I would think you certainly wouldn't be cuddling with him if you already have a committed boyfriend.
Oh, real quick. Crow's all right. Crow's doing good. And he's going to be live tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
He'll be back tomorrow. So it says here, he doesn't give a shit about me, and I'm clearly not going to be taken care of. When my other coworker quit, he didn't even blink an eye. He doesn't care about us. I wish my credit wasn't so fucked up because of my fucking ex. Just another example of a man not giving a fuck about me. I just want to live alone in this area somewhere with a big German Shepherd. I'm realizing now that I want to live alone, but guess what? I can't. I fucking can't because I have nothing at all. And I believe this is around the time that it came up again of them potentially moving in together again. Because remember, earlier this year, there was that idea, right? That idea was thrown out. And when I leave, I got to go back to my fucking mom's house where I was kicked out and go live with them in that gross ass dirty fucking house where I don't even feel comfortable or happy. Yay, can't wait to have repressed memories brought back up I assume she meant by being there. If I could just get a bank loan for like $4 or $5 grand, I would just quit my fucking job today, find an apartment near your place, and live here happily away from the toxic ass smash scene with my shitty fake friends, my mean ass sister, and get away from everyone forever. You are one of the only people I would actually stay in contact with. I want to die weekend. I hate my fucking life so much. Die. Okay. Is there anyone that would potentially co-sign a loan for you or anything? Thanks, maybe. Why don't you take a look at a job listing and stuff and see if there's anything up this way that even sounds interesting? Thanks, LOL. No, nobody. I would like literally work anywhere. I don't care at all. But even if I start saving now, it'll take me 6 fucking months to save up enough to even afford like a month of rent. Don't even have my phone on right now. Not necessarily. This is what he says on what kind of job you get. Let's sit and talk when I get home. No, I meant like at my job I have now. And then he's showing proof of, I think he claims that she gave him a hickey also, but I believe that's what he says over here in his, let me look it over here real quick in his twit longer. So right here he says, I can't speak to specifics regarding Puppy's twit longer other than to say that a lot of it lines up with my observation of events and beliefs. There was one conversation that I had with Senpai where she asked me if there was a way to delete messages from Facebook because Puppy had some that could ruin her, quote unquote, ruin her or something to that effect. It was a long time ago and I don't have screenshots or anything of this. So we can't really take his word for that, right?
Yeah.
I've sat on all this for years because, well, mostly because I was afraid to come forward with it. I've shared bits and pieces of this with people through the years, and although some were understanding and saw the same thing I did, I also got a lot of "no way, she's awesome" and nice reactions. I was afraid that people wouldn't believe me, and I'd be shunned from the community that I love. But it's time for this to come out for my sake, but so people can understand that anyone can be affected and manipulated in the right circumstances. If any of our community leaders have questions or need more detail, please feel free to reach out. Additionally, please keep in mind that this post is about a person who has done terrible things, but they're still a person. Let's protect the community, but don't pile on needlessly. Everyone reading this, everyone affected, please just do your best to be a little better each day. Be kinder, be more understanding, and do the right thing. Even when it's hard, never stop fighting. Be the change. So yeah, the picture they shared was apparently a time where she also gave him a hickey. Again, I don't know what friends get down like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They do stuff like that. I mean, maybe I guess they can, but usually if they do, it's because they're friends with, or at least from what I've seen, usually friends with benefits.
Yeah.
So
essentially,
you know. So let's go. You said the clip. You want to see the clip of her, right?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Here's the clip of her. That clip of her, that they said where she's creeping on Puppy.
Yeah.
So here's that infamous clip, right? Where they focus in. She's in the background. Now, remember how she painted this earlier when we went over her messages? She said that he was abusing her, essentially, that he was trying to slap her in the face, that, he was calling her names and stuff
I think
that
Tanya
day.
was first.
So she's holding on to him back here, right? This is
Yeah.
not where there is a point where he does like reach towards her face, and it looks like he's playing. It looks playful to me. She's making it seem like he's actually being violent, or the way she presents it, like he's being violent with her. But right here, look, they're just, she's holding on to him.
Yeah. Doesn't she grab, like, almost glomp his ass? Doesn't she, hug?
Right here,
Or
she's like
Jigglypuff.
hugging. It looks
I'm gonna
like
say
she's hugging him right here.
That loud so he can hear me.
It looks like she just hugged him right there, right? Like she was just hugging him and swaying.
Maybe here go Jigglypuff.
He
Right?
also looks way younger than fucking 14, dude. He looks like a very... Sorry,
Yeah.
I can't tell he's 14. He looks like he's fucking like 11 or 12 to me.
Yeah, he's a little. He's a short kid apparently, but apparently he was
He
14.
bullied the shit out of her. Yeah, he fucking slapped her around here and there. Yeah, totally did it.
He was being a little
Big
jerk
puff.
to her.
Making
Okay.
a Pokemon battle.
And
there.
he's
So
not
look right
going.
there.
Sorry.
It looks like they're talking
tried.
very friendly. Now it looks right there like he is trying to playfully.
I tried.
It
I
doesn't
tried.
seem aggressive to me. Like
Guys.
it looked like he was playfully trying to reach at her face. She grabs his arm, brings him over.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Her head didn't jerk at all. If she got
No.
Yeah, he's looking way.
And
more
look right
comfortable
there.
than
It looks like
before.
it looks like
Like
she
I said,
could.
man, like I feel
All
like
right, so she's saying that he tried to slap her there. That she makes it seem like he was being aggressive, but then she's like hugging up on him afterwards.
Yeah.
all right, he
You
lost
know?
in winners, but
Yeah.
for him, a lot of times that can be a good
And
thing.
he looks like he's like laughing about it.
'Cause
So
he'll assess
it
what
looks
went
like
wrong
he
in
might
that
have been
first
trying to
set,
touch
you
her
know what I mean? He'll
face
make them
playfully.
necessarily-
See, it doesn't look like he's slapping her. It looks like he's just trying to touch her face. She's like, okay, hey, don't touch my face. It doesn't look, and she's pointing towards the
Yeah.
camera. Now, so this is the incident that she's talking about where she pointed towards the camera, but it didn't look like he was rearing back to slap her. It looked like he was just trying to touch her face, and she was like, hey, don't. You
What if he
know?
was trying to pull her in for a fucking kiss and she's like, oh no, we're in public? Like,
Yeah,
you know?
well, maybe that's the thing. It looked like he was just trying to grab her face.
Yeah. Like that's
You
what
know?
I'm saying. Like, what if that's it? I don't know, man. That's a speculation. But
Yeah.
like, honestly,
Yeah, so Puppy may be trying to kiss Senpai, but Senpai then points at the camera. Which, yeah, maybe that's what was happening, given that stuff. I don't know if stuff had happened between them at this point, but maybe that's what it was. Maybe he thought, oh, well, we're together now, so. See, look, he's grabbing her face.
yeah.
You know, it didn't look like he was trying to slap her. It looked like he was trying to grab her face to pull her towards him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong, though. Look, I'm not any kind of body language expert or anything like that. That's just what it seems like to me, a layman. You know,
Yeah.
I could be completely misreading the situation.
Or in
I mean, I don't know,
I
man.
saw it in that first game.
See, then he like
Not
puts
getting
his head
flustered at any
down,
moment, just controlling the pace,
and
paid
she's
off big
like
time.
saying
Yep.
something to him.
Big key success, but now he has to do it on Jeff's pick. And I feel like he won't pick a stage
He doesn't
like,
seem
as big as Battlefield.
upset.
Lucas, I feel like, does have slightly
He's touching
better
her head
offensive
now,
tools,
see?
So he might want to box him
Yeah.
a little bit more.
You
just
see
to
it
make
right
him
here?
Feel like
He's
uncomfortable.
touching her head. He has his hand.
Like
Bopped
before
her
he
on the
gets that
head,
lead,
kind of
you know?
playfully.
And,
Right
yeah,
there,
Smashville's
it
pick.
looked like he tried to slap her there, but it was more like a playful, you know, maybe. Or he could have been
And
frustrated.
smaller stage.
See, it looks like he's playing, though, because he's laughing. Like, go back.
Yeah.
Or go back.
No,
here,
yeah,
so you
they
can
look
see.
like they're playing with each other. Yeah.
Because look at him right here. I'll
Because
pause
she
it.
lowered her head for him to be able to do this.
Yeah, right?
Before he
Bops.
gets that lead, you know?
Then it looks like right there,
Yeah.
And
it looks like she says something to him,
Yeah,
but then right
Smashville's
here,
pick.
you saw? Like he smiled for a moment.
Yeah, I saw him.
So I don't know.
and smaller
See, and he's
stage.
smiling right there. And she's smiling now. Or at
Isn't
least
she
that's
doing
what it
something?
seems like.
Is she like tickling him or some shit? I can't tell. There's a guy in the way.
She might be,
But her arms are moving. Her arms are definitely.
But it looks like they're playing. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Both. Blast
It doesn't look like there's like a lot of aggression there.
And
Yeah.
I think he was already dead, but that was definitely.
And
the
then
last
you see
nail
her
in the
again
coffin.
right here, right? He just finished the
Great way
set,
to start. Well, I'm off.
All right, it was a pleasure, man.
and she
I get
goes,
to commentate again. I expect to get out soon.
Wow,
grabs his shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe
come on, man.
comforting
No,
him.
no,
I don't know if he
no.
lost a set or whatever, and she's comforting him, but then
Exactly.
walks off
Make
with
that
him.
young losers run, man.
I'll catch you in a bit, man.
You know,
Yep, take it easy.
Sports Anthem came out recently in accusations against Senpai, who was 24 or 23 at the time. Either way,
All right, so I gotta ask, you're really young. You're younger than most Smashers. How long have you been playing
look
Smash
how little
Brothers?
he is.
That's what I'm saying.
For like a while.
A what?
Since Melee.
Since Melee? You've been playing since Melee? I think Melee's older than you, dude.
Yeah, but
You've been playing since you were
That's what I'm
born.
saying. It's like a fucking 12-year-old, dude.
Yeah, he looks really little.
He looks
So-
really young. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, it doesn't make any. I don't care, dude. It's weird.
Yeah. So it's like when you look at the situation and the stuff, like these guys seem to have a even though again, nobody can say with any kind of certainty because it's their word versus hers. They could
Yeah.
it is possible that they could all be lying too. But the thing is, they seem to be consistent. I mean, I don't know if they conspired together to come out because each one of their little statements come one day apart from each other.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of suspicious too, right? One right after the other. It's like first it's Puppy, then it's G Money, then it's Zephyr. But again, the receipts that the Zephyr guy provides seem to be, like I said, he seemed to have a lot more context than anything else that she provides. And again, it's not to say that she's lying. Something could have happened between them, but the way that she presents her information, I think is pretty suspicious because she does omit some details that I think are relevant, like the fact that she moved in with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She lived
Yeah.
with him. Presumably after whatever happened between her and Pape and the thing that she's alleging that this Zephyr guy did to her. Then you have those messages between her and him where she's, she talks about how important he is to her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She cuddled with him.
Yeah.
And that's according to what she said and he said, right? In those messages that he provided. So there's, I don't know. There's definitely a lot more to this than what she's led on, for sure.
Yeah.
She's making it seem like this guy just flat out she's putting all the blame on this guy, on this Zephyr guy, saying that he assaulted her. But she also says in those messages, hey, you've never been like pervy towards me and stuff like that. Which again, you would think that if this guy did do anything with her, she would have never moved in with him. He seems to have respected her boundaries for the most part.
Yeah.
Except
I don't know. Like, I also feel like if something did happen, I don't think one of them wouldn't have addressed it at some point. So, I don't think, especially like reading how Zephyr replies and how his tweet longer is, seems like a timid kind of fucking dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's say if he did overstep a boundary and, engage with this woman sexually, I think he would be like, so about last night, something like that. And then she could show a screenshot of like proof on that shit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And like he's, look, these guys that she seems to
target.
These guys that she seems to target, I hate to say it, but they seem like they're dudes with they're guys that, at least to me, from what it seems like, they're guys with low self-esteem.
They have baggage. They have lots of baggage.
Yeah,
Look at
they have baggage themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? Glyph Money. Glyph Money had been assaulted himself, I believe, in his tweet longer.
Yeah, what he claims.
Yeah. By actually, I think we read it. Promalia.
Promalia. Yeah, and apparently the Promalia guy admitted to it.
Yes, he admitted to assaulting.
Allegedly, he apparently admitted to it, and he was kicked out of the Smash community.
Yeah,
so again,
exactly.
I don't know details about that, so I can't say with 100% certainty. But that's allegedly, he copped to it, and he was then removed, or banned. I should say removed. He was banned from the Smash community.
Yeah,
that he was a part of. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this just all this stuff. There's way more to it than, like I said, than what's being presented, and it could go ahead.
Because I was gonna say, I don't recall I think she provides little screenshots of something about Puppy being a bully and shit, but like no one knows what the fuck he did. You would also have to take her word for that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, she
so-
did, and I went over those earlier. I'll put them back up because the thing is, she's showing these screenshots, which they seem it seems like what a trolly 14-year-old would do and say.
Yeah.
But she makes it seem like they're very like nasty, and it's just like I don't know. This doesn't seem like I would expect a more
severe
example, because you see this is like, this guy is saying to him, you've done better trolling, bro. This is low tier troll status. Be yourself,
Yeah.
Troy. And then he says Cinnamon gets 5th in every team's tournament though. LOL. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's funny AF. You're trying too hard. You're obsessing over it. You're like the reverse. LMAO. No, I'm not. This group needs some shit talk anyway.
Yeah.
We need to find some girl who is 13 but looks like she's 8 just for troll, just so Troy can have his own little Cinnamon at the weeklies to preoccupy his time. Then Troy says, do it, find them. Then this person says, Troy has gone from being kind of funny to being legitimately annoying and cringe-inducing. Don't even make me bring you up. I guess he's referring to this person, LMFAO.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you do make money, Troy, but it doesn't seem to be enough for you. You look for people to quote-unquote troll because you're bored. It's cool. I get it, but GD, LOL. Then he says, I mean, trolling is fun when people start getting seriously mad. My point, you have to do it enough and people start getting mad. And then the admin says, you don't think you've already made your point? Move on to something or someone else for now. I will. So I'm looking at this and I'm just like, okay, what's so bad that he did? You know what I mean?
She said that she was getting harassed by everybody. I'm like, they're kind of bitching at him for being annoying. He's getting a lot of pushback. It's not like they're dogpiling her. I don't know.
I would think that you would provide a much clearer example of people being like really mean to you. Like they like calling you a stupid bitch or saying like, oh, you suck so bad. Don't show up to weeklies or monthlies anymore. You're a scrub. You'll never be good. You know what I mean? We don't want you here. So, something like that. Something that's much more. It's just like, okay. I mean, you might have been acting like a little shit.
But John, I got to hop off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries, because I'll probably wrap soon. So, but I don't see anything where it's just like, I don't see anything in these messages that is just really like all that damning against them. That she tried to make it seem like there was, that he and all these people were just monsters to her. And it's just like, and again, there's some messages that she shares out of context. And again, look, at no point am I saying that what she claims to have happened to her is a lie. It's possible that it could have happened, but there's not much proof that she provides to back up her claim. She, I guess, never went to the police. I think there's just interesting things regarding all this. She sent a cease and desist order to the internet, but she didn't send one to Puppy or anybody else that made public statements, right? That at least that we know of, right? Maybe she could have, and that's why I didn't talk about it for a while. But then Puppy recently responded. He recently responded to what she said, and we're gonna go over that right now. And then we'll close out the stream. But he made a response to what she said, and this is what he had to say, right? And this is from the 12th, I think, the day right after she put her response. He put, after seeing Cinnamon's response, I'm honestly shocked and bothered that she continues to drag out this situation while not addressing anything in my original post. I've been trying to move on ever since the events of that summer happened, and I was old enough, to rationalize what truly occurred. It's hard to keep having to relive that time of my life. For starters, I have no comment on the Zephyr situation and know nothing about her accusations towards him. I did spend a lot of time at his house through the summer in 2016, and a year or two after, in which Cinnamon was not a part of, and I never saw any instance of Zephyr being inappropriate with any of his guests, including Cinnamon, at any point during those 2 to 3 years. Excuse me. The Sofa Smash scene used to be very toxic back in late 2015 through nearly all of 2016. The scene used to have a Facebook page where members of the community would post about anything relating to Smash or upcoming tournaments. And there would also be shit talk between players of the scene to one another. And that was just the nature of the Southern Virginia Smash group at the time. The screenshots she posted all were from late 2015, significantly before Cinnamon and I became friends. Cinnamon and I did not get along for the first few months of knowing each other, and those screenshots, while rude and disrespectful, were way before any of the events I talked about occurred. I think it's really telling that it took 2 years for her to assemble a collection of outdated and irrelevant screenshots of things that I said out of context that occurred way before our friendship became a thing. The time frame of those screenshots and the time frame of our sexual relationship were almost a year apart. I've really been trying to put that time of my life behind me. I don't want to talk about it, and I didn't want to make this response to begin with, but I feel like I had to just say the parts of her statement involving me are entirely false. I hope that I never have to make a post like this again, and I can finally fully move on. So that's Puppy's last statement on the matter. So far. As far as the Zephyr guy or the other guy, Glyph Money, they haven't made any kind of responses to this. So that's just kind of where it's at. It's just like we don't, he's saying that the screenshots that she shared were from 2015, which would be consistent with one of the ones that she shared. So, I'll just assume that they're from 2015, like he says, until something, until there's something more concrete that comes out. But I mean, she's making a lot of accusations and hasn't really. The stuff that she's backed them up with is pretty disorganized, in my opinion. And some of the stuff is out of context, and it's she's just kind of leaving it for you to kind of like place it where it goes. Instead of, it would have probably done her better to put out her statement and then maybe link after each paragraph what it was she was talking about. I mean, you could kind of put it together like that, but I don't know. There's no, like I said, I don't know what's fact and what's fiction in this whole situation. What I do know is, like I said, is that it's all allegations. Nothing has been proven unequivocally to be true or false. It's just one person's word versus another. And that's where it's at. And she's made one very serious accusation against the guy known as Zephyr, and he has yet to respond. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Maybe he's put all this stuff behind him. I'll try to keep up to date with what I learn about the situation, but I'm not saying one way or the other that one person is lying and one person is telling the truth. I don't know any of these people involved. There's always two sides to a story. The whole thing, people are going to say that it's that person telling their truth and that person telling their truth. Look, I just want to know the truth. Not interested in anybody's individual truth. There's, we can only kind of speculate based on what they've both provided. But there does seem to be some consistency, at least in regards to the guys that have come forward saying that she kind of does. And you've seen from the messages, again, if the messages are real, because I'm not going to say that with 100% certainty they can be faked. It is possible. But I haven't seen her come forward and refute them. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are real either. But it seems like it comes across like she's manipulative. It does, at least in those messages. So, take that for what it is. Do I think Tech will ever cover this? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Tech has bigger things to cover, but I may make a video about it just to kind of put it all together at some point. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe I'll just do a live stream like this again. But that's where it stands right now. Like I said, I don't know what's true, don't know what's false. I can only give my opinion on the matter. I am of the opinion, at least so far from what it seems like she could be manipulative, but that's that's if we take the evidence that Zephyr has shown and what these guys have said. If we take that as we got to kind of take it at face value, I guess. But it does seem they all seem to be consistent. But again, they could have all conspired. They could have all conspired for all we know. That's certainly a possibility. It could all be lies, and this person could have some serious issues too, and maybe that's why they can't put all their stuff together in a more coherent way. Because, like I said, I'm not saying at all that what she claims to have happened to her didn't happen to her. We just don't know. But I haven't seen any evidence to really back up that claim outside of just her saying it, right? So, and it's the same with these guys too, But they did provide, like I said, the one guy did provide some evidence that does seem to be a little bit more context behind it. So, make of that what you will. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I appreciate you all joining me tonight. Sorry for the technical difficulties I had earlier. Hopefully that won't happen on the next stream. So I'll be sure to announce the next stream. But thank you all so much for hanging out. And thank you to Aura for joining me on the stream as well. You all have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you all on the next stream.